Smoke hangs thick in the air, a bitter haze from burning naphtha pots and smoldering wood. The stomp of horse hooves echoes off stone walls, mingling with the low whinny of beasts hungry for grain. You hear voices' harsh commands in a foreign tongue, the sharp crack of whips. Then, the sight unfolds. Hundreds of women, their veils torn, faces streaked with ash and tears, herded like cattle into the open square. Slender figures, some barely past girlhood, tremble as rough hands sort them, dividing them among the victors. One soldier grabs a young woman's arm, pulling her toward his tent. She stumbles, her cry lost in the chaos. Another group, the nobles' daughters, are set aside for the leaders, their fate sealed not by chance, but by order. The conquerors laugh, their eyes gleaming with the promise of spoils. But this is only the beginning. What comes next reveals the true horror, a calculated storm that would reshape empires. What you're about to hear involves enslavement and sexual violence against women and civilians. These events are documented in historical chronicles, but they're deeply disturbing. If you need to step away, I understand. For those staying, we focus on understanding the system behind it all, not exploiting the suffering, but seeing how it powered one of history's deadliest machines. This wasn't mindless barbarism. This was a machine of empire building, oiled by terror and fueled by human lives as currency. In the spring of 1220, as the Mongol hordes swept into Central Asia, Bukhara, a jewel of learning and trade along the Silk Road, became the testing ground for a new kind of warfare. Genghis Khan, the self-proclaimed scourge of God, didn't just conquer cities, he dismantled societies, turning survivors into tools for further conquest. His sons, like Tolui, executed the orders with precision, ensuring every victory fed the next. The Khwarezmian Empire, ruled by Shah Muhammad, had provoked this storm through arrogance and betrayal. What happened in Bukhara mattered because it set the pattern for decades of Mongol dominance, erasing cultures while forging the largest land empire ever known. It echoes today in how power uses people as disposable assets, a lesson in the machinery of domination that transcends time. Long before the flames licked Bukhara's walls, the seeds of destruction were sown on the vast steppes of Mongolia. Genghis Khan, born Temujin around 1162, emerged from a world of endless feuds among nomadic tribes. Orphaned young after his father was poisoned by rivals, he learned survival the hard way, hunted, enslaved briefly, then rising through sheer will and cunning. By 1206, he had united the Mongols under one banner, earning the title Genghis Khan, universal ruler. His system was simple yet revolutionary. Merit over bloodlines, loyalty rewarded with shares of plunder, and terror as a weapon to break enemies before battles began. The army, perhaps 100,000 strong, moved like lightning on horseback, living off the land, striking with composite bows that outranged foes. The clash with the Khwarezmian Empire started small, but escalated into catastrophe. This vast realm stretched from the Caspian Sea to the Indus River, a patchwork of Persian, Turkish, and Arab influences. Rich from Silk Road trade, Shah Muhammad, a proud ruler in his 40s, saw the Mongols as barbarians. In 1218, a Mongol caravan of 450 merchants arrived at Otrar, a border city, seeking trade. The governor, Inalchuk, Shah Muhammad's uncle, accused them of spying, seized their goods, and executed them all. Genghis sent envoys demanding justice. Shah Muhammad beheaded one and shaved the others' beards, sending them back humiliated. It was a fatal miscalculation. Genghis, who valued diplomacy as a tool of expansion, saw this as an unforgivable insult. "They have chosen war," he declared. Historians note the death toll from the ensuing invasion may have reached millions, though exact numbers are debated. Estimates for the whole campaign range from 1.5 to 15 million, depending on sources. Genghis mobilized his forces, dividing them into wings. He took the central path with his youngest son, Tolui, a brilliant tactician in his 20s, known for ruthless efficiency. Tolui had already proven himself in earlier campaigns, mastering siege warfare and logistics. The army crossed mountains and deserts, enduring blizzards and thirst, a feat that stunned contemporaries. They hit Otrar first, besieging it for 5 months. When it fell, Inalchuk was executed gruesomely. Molten silver poured into his eyes and ears, a symbolic retribution for greed. The city was razed, its people massacred or enslaved. This pattern, punish resistance Reward, submission became the machine's core. Shah Muhammad fled, abandoning his empire. His mother Turkan Khatun left to rally defenses. The Mongols split. Sons Jochi, Chagatai, and Ogadai headed north, while Genghis and Tolui targeted the heartland. Bukhara loomed as the prize. This ancient city, over 1,500 years old, was a beacon of Islamic scholarship, home to towering minarets, bustling bazaars, and libraries brimming with knowledge. Its walls enclosed perhaps 300,000 souls, merchants, scholars, artisans. The air carried scents of spices and incense, sounds of prayer, calls, and haggling, but tension brewed. Shah Muhammad had sacked it years earlier, leaving resentment. As winter thawed into spring 1220, Genghis executed a masterstroke, crossing the Kizilkum Desert, a barren waste thought impassable for armies. His scouts had mapped hidden wells, allowing the horde to appear like ghosts at Bukhara's gates. The garrison, led by Khakan, a Turkish general loyal to the Shah, numbered around 20,000. They sallied out to meet the invaders, but Mongol archers ambushed them, cutting down thousands. The survivors retreated behind the walls, families huddled in fear. What followed showed the machine in motion. For 3 days, the Mongols encircled the city, their tents stretching to the horizon. Catapults hurled stones, arrows darkened the sky. Inside, panic spread. Khakan urged resistance, but the people, weary of the Shah's rule, opened the gates on February 10. Genghis rode in triumphant Tolui at his side. The outer city submitted, but Khakan and a few hundred holdouts barricaded in the citadel with their kin. The Mongols turned the populace into human tools, driving civilians to fill moats and scale walls, forcing defenders to kill their own. Naphtha pots ignited, flames leaping from wooden homes. After 12 days, the citadel crumbled. Khakan fought to the end, but his men were overwhelmed. No male taller than a whip's butt survived the blade. Over 30,000 perished, historians estimate, though some dispute the figure as exaggerated in chronicles. Zara, a merchant's daughter in her late teens, had lived a sheltered life amid Bukhara's splendors. Her father traded silks from China, her days filled with poetry and garden walks. She was betrothed to a young scholar, dreaming of a future in the city's madrasas. As the Mongols breached the gates, she hid in her family's home, heart pounding. But the invaders flushed them out, her father dragged away with the able-bodied men. Zara watched in horror as soldiers sorted the crowds, artisans pulled aside for their skills, sent east to craft weapons. The young and strong were levied into auxiliary forces, cannon fodder for the next siege. Then came the division of the rest. Genghis ordered the people assembled in the open fields. He and Tolui oversaw the process, ensuring shares for every warrior. The system was precise, plunder divided by rank, humans treated as booty. Zara was among the women herded together, their cries muffled by guards. The chronicles describe them as slender as the cypress, implying youth and beauty marked for the elite. Many were raped on the spot, a deliberate act to break spirits and reward troops. Others, like Zara, were assigned to officers, concubines, or slaves, their fates tied to the machine's needs. This wasn't about individual desire, it was incentive, binding soldiers to the conquest. Every drop of blood spilled fed the empire, one account suggests. Zara's world shattered as she was pulled toward Tolui's camp, her innocence a commodity in the ledger of war. But that wasn't the worst part. The city itself became a pyre. To root out hidden resistors, Mongols torched quarters, flames consuming wooden structures. The great library vanished in smoke, knowledge lost forever. Only stone minarets stood sentinel over ruins. Genghis, in the Friday mosque mistaking it for a palace, had his men feed horses from Koran chests, wine flowing as singing girls performed under threat. From the pulpit he thundered, "O people, know that you have committed great sins. I am the punishment of God." It was psychological warfare, framing conquest as divine will, eroding resistance. This wasn't about one city. This was about the system scaling up. Bukhara's fall sent shock waves through the empire. Shah Muhammad, fleeing across rivers, heard of it and despaired. His forces crumbled as news spread. Mongols spared submitters but annihilated resistors. Tolui pressed on, joining his father for Samarkand, where similar horrors unfolded. But Bukhara breathed a moment here. Amid the ashes, a scholar whispered to another, "It is the wind of God's omnipotence." A quiet irony, the invaders, profane in the mosque, unwittingly echoed Islamic fatalism. The escalation shifted as the horde fanned out. From Bukhara, Genghis dispatched wings to hunt Shah Muhammad, who died broken on a Caspian island, his empire fracturing. Tolui took a southern route, sacking Merv and Nishapur with even greater ferocity. In Merv, chronicles claim 700,000 slain, pyramids of skulls as warnings. Women there face the same, sordid, violated, enslaved, but the view changes when seen through the executors. Tolui, implementing orders, saw it as necessity. Rewards kept the army cohesive. Terror minimized future battles. A witness, a captured Persian scribe, recorded the machinery. Reports flowed up the chain. Incentives like shares of women ensured loyalty. No chaos. Bureaucracy in motion. In Bukhara's wake, the system spread. Villages emptied, their people funneled into labor pools. Numbers tell the tale in human terms. Whole families vanished, lineages erased. One breather amid the storm, an ironic detail. Some enslaved artisans, shipped to Mongolia, brought Bukhara's crafts east, blending cultures in unexpected ways. A potter's wheel turned in distant Karakoram, spinning silk patterns from a lost home. But the escalation peaked in cities like Herat, where initial surrender was revoked, leading to total extermination. Women, once spared for utility, faced slaughter if deemed burdensome. Zara, now a captive in Tolui's train, witnessed the machine from within. Marched toward Samarkand, she saw levied men thrown first at walls, their bodies shields for Mongol arrows. Her group, the women, were guarded assets, cooked, mended, warmed beds. Some resisted, meeting swift ends. Others adapted, birthing a new generation with Mongol blood. The system incentivized this. Warriors gained status through offspring, empire through population, but a crack appeared: overreach. Shah Muhammad's son, Jalal ad-Din, rallied remnants, harrying Mongols in guerrilla strikes. His defiance showed the machine wasn't invincible. Resistance could slow it. The climax came as the horde converged on Urgench, the Khwarezmian capital. Months of siege turned it into hell, house-to-house fighting. Rivers diverted to flood streets. Women like Zara, now part of the baggage train, heard tales. Defenders boiled alive, civilians drowned. Tolui directed assaults, his tactics honed in Bukhara. The breaking point. When Urgench fell, up to 1.2 million perished. Historians debate, bodies choking the Amu Darya. Among the enslaved, Zara saw the system's flaw. Endless conquest bred endless enemies. Genghis, sensing overextension, recalled forces. The machine cracked not from defeat, but exhaustion. In the aftermath, Bukhara lay in ruins, its population decimated. Genghis moved on, leaving governors to extract tribute. Tolui returned east, his share of spoils, including captives like Zara, bolstering his status. He later fathered future Khans, the system perpetuating through blood. Shah Muhammad's realm dissolved. His mother, Turkan Khatun, captured, paraded, then exiled to Mongolia. Survivors scattered, some rebuilding Bukhara under Mongol oversight. The city revived surprisingly fast, becoming a trade hub in the Pax Mongolica, repopulated by deportees from China. Long-term, the invasion depopulated Central Asia. Estimates suggest a drop from 25 million to under 10 million regionally. An ironic twist. Documents meant to glorify the Shah condemned him, preserved by Mongol scribes as lessons in hubris. Modern discovery brings it tangible. In the 2020 seconds, archaeologists in Bukhara unearthed destruction layers, charred wood, arrowheads, mass graves. Led by teams from NYU's Institute for the Study of the Ancient World, digs revealed pre-Mongol prosperity, pottery shards, coin hoards buried in haste. A 2024 find, a sealed chamber with manuscripts, echoes of the lost library. Soren Urbanski, a lead excavator, described skeletons showing blade wounds, some female with bound wrists, silent testimony to enslavement. These finds prove the scale, countering skeptics who dismiss chronicles as hype. Why it matters. This teaches how power systems dehumanize, turning people into cogs. A modern parallel, grounded, not preachy, lies in how empires, from colonial powers to modern conflicts, use terror and exploitation to expand. The Mongol machine showed efficiency's dark side. Effective, but at what cost? It reminds us resistance, like Jalal ad-Din's, plants seeds for renewal. Human nature bends but doesn't break entirely. Echo the start. The smoke cleared, but the scars lingered. Bukhara rose from ashes, its people meant to vanish, but enduring in stories and stones. Zara, if she survived, and many like her did, might have whispered her tale to children, keeping memory alive. They were meant to disappear, but they didn't. And now they're here with you, because you chose to listen. If this story moved you, share in the comments. What part haunts you most? Subscribe for more hidden histories that deserve to be heard. And in the silence that follows, remember the machine may grind, but stories outlast empires.